You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hi, we are Enterprise Splaining, the podcast where we explain Star Trek Enterprise to each other and to you. I'm Jamie, and these are my co-hosts Maria.
Hello.
And Bill.
So happy to be here.
And today we also have Elaine with us. Hi, Elaine.
Oh, how's everybody?
Good. Who are you, and why are you here?
How did you get the link to this Zoom recording?
Jamie sent it to me, so that's how I got the link. No, I am. I'm Elaine. I am a new Star Trek fan-ish. I recently, well, as of 2 years ago, we started watching Star Trek, me and my husband Matt, but he decided we were going to watch it in Stardate order.
Oh,
which
wow.
meant we started with Enterprise first. And I had not seen, now I've seen all of the new stuff, Discovery, Picard, Strange New World. We've been watching that as it airs. So I had seen that, but I had not really seen any older Star Trek, except for random TOS episodes here and there, until we started this project. So Enterprise is my first Star Trek.
Yeah, which is why I really wanted you to come on, because we talked about this last year at Dragon Con, and I've been thinking about it since then, because it's a weird introduction.
It is a weird introduction, and I know he's kind of been given some, why are you watching it that way? But it's been interesting because we've made it through Enterprise, the original series, the animated series,
Excellent.
All of the TOS movies, and now we are on season 6 of The Next Generation.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And so when we finish that, season 6, we're going to do season 1 of DS9, because I know there was interlap.
Oh, right. Yeah, because they were kind of at the same time.
Yeah. Because he was like, I know we could do episodes and episodes, but he'd rather keep it season for me, because I'll keep it.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, going back and forth episode by episode would be very confusing.
I don't want to do that.
So are you doing the last bit of Discovery after? Like, is that going to be like the last thing?
No, because we've already seen all of Discovery.
Okay.
We watched that as it came out. But if we ever do a rewatch, which we are also fans of Doctor Who, and we have watched all the way through what's available to watch Doctor Who from 1963 to present, like 3 times. So we will probably do a rewatch of Trek at some point. And he has stated that we might do split Discovery in half.
Okay.
Stick in Discovery here it belongs in the beginning, and then at the end, maybe. I leave that up to him. So that is how I came into Star Trek. And Enterprise, I know it is not the best example of any Star Trek. But I have not seen all of Star Trek yet. I still have Voyager and DS9, which understand DS9 is supposed to be like way up here, and Voyager, depending on who you are, is somewhere in there.
Voyager's a vibe.
Yeah.
Voyager is definitely like, there are people who are like really into it. And
then there are people that are not, which...
Yeah.
It's... Voyager is the cilantro of Star Trek.
Well, I am not the cilantro person. My husband is, but he's not a super big fan of Voyager, and he's trying to keep his mouth shut before we get to it, because he wants me to come. Like, he did well with Enterprise, because Enterprise, I don't think he finished watching it when it was on, because he was getting burnt out. There had been so much Star Trek, and I think he started a job or something. He was kind of like, yeah. And so, but I enjoyed Enterprise. I like it. I love it.
Why are you here?
I don't know why. I think I love it because I also like an underdog, and everybody I talk to hates it. So I'm like, no, but I like it for what it is.
Just to be clear, You do know you're not on First Flight Pod, right?
I do.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I see liking an underdog. It's actually why I like doing this podcast and like talking about Enterprise with people. Like even people who hate Enterprise but have seen it want to talk about it so bad because nobody else wants to talk about it. And they're like, finally, somebody to let me talk about this show. And it's why I like doing like the Enterprise uniform, wearing my Enterprise cosplay at Dragon Con, because it's so rare to see others in it.
Right.
But so sorry, I'm like, where was I in the script? All right. So today our mission is a second contact. Last week, Chuck told us about what happened on the Star Trek Enterprise episode Ceasefire. We have now all watched the episode and are back with our thoughts. But since this week is a follow-up to last week, we do recommend that you listen to last week's episode first before you listen to this one. And also a reminder that we have merch. We have really cute Porthos Appreciation Society shirts available in the ESO Network TeePublic store. You can get to it from esonetworks.com, I think is right. Right. And then just click the link to the TeePublic store. All right. So last week's episode. Sorry, I don't know why I said that. Sorry, I got only 4 hours of sleep last night. Dragon Con messed up my sleep. Yeah. So, as a reminder, what happened last week in Ceasefire? The Andorians and Vulcans both lay claim to the same planet. And lucky for us, both sides are represented by some of the only Andorians and Vulcans that we have met. Mm-hmm. On the Andorian side, we have our favorite Andorian Shran back. Despite the fact that this is the 3rd episode with him, this is the first time that we've actually learned his name. They say his name so much in this episode. Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's pronounced with like I can't remember what it's Shran. It's like
is it Shran?
It's like a Midwest thing. I made note of that because I thought
because we talked about it last time.
They don't say it like I did. Like my family in Ohio, Shran. No, they say, but it is Shran.
Shran. Okay. On the Vulcan side, our most hateable Vulcan, Soval. Soval is the Vulcan ambassador to Earth. So why is he in charge of negotiating with the Andorians? Is anyone's guess. And to make matters worse, they ask Archer to help arbitrate the negotiations. And somehow, despite Shran's own people trying to sabotage the negotiations, and Soval's general assholeness, and Archer refusing to do his homework, they managed to successfully negotiate a ceasefire. So, what did you guys think?
I want to say, first of all, in all fairness, Jamie, I'm going to let you know I did cheat. I watched this episode at 1.25 speed, which maybe altered my perceptions of this.
That is definitely a cheat.
Well, I didn't go to 1.5. This episode was rated for 120%, and that's what I did. I want to say, I thought this was a pretty good episode. I thought it had a clear premise. They played it out. We knew what was going to happen, but they delivered the goods. I liked almost all of the acting. There was nothing crazy or ridiculous in it. So this might be not the most enjoyable episode of Enterprise I've seen thus far, but really probably one of the best that they've done.
I think Chuck called it a Star Trek 6 Enterprise 9. Yeah. And I would agree with that. The first thing that struck me was just how cavalier Archer was about literally this entire thing. Like, it was like, oh, this is so hard. I have to read stuff and prepare. And also, I'm not a diplomat. And that I'm not a diplomat thing drove me crazy.
Thank you. The I'm not a diplomat, your entire, purpose of being out there is to be a diplomat to other species. That is the only purpose of you being out there.
Yeah.
How can you not say that you're not a diplomat?
Well, it sort of explains a lot about how he keeps fucking things up, because he's clearly the wrong person for this job.
Elaine, what are your thoughts?
Because this will be the second time I've seen this episode, because I watched it today to prepare, because it had been a couple years since I've seen it. And it was not the episode I thought it was. So I'm glad I rewatched it.
Because I was going to ask you why you, because I gave you a choice of episodes and you chose this one.
Well, because I like Shran. I like every episode he's in is going to be a good episode because he's really good at any role he plays on Star Trek because he is every man in every Star Trek. He's everywhere. And so that was the main reason because I like Shran. I mean, I think every episode he's in, I've enjoyed, even if they're stupid episodes, because I like.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the last Shran episode was not very good, but Jeffrey Combs was great in it, and it was still fun watching.
Yeah. So,
which episode did you think this was?
There's
Is it an upcoming one or a past one?
An upcoming one that may not even be in this season.
Okay, well, no spoilers.
No.
I guess we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Okay, getting into the Archer issue of Archer not being a diplomat, like, I didn't even clock that line because I know Archer's not a diplomat. Like, I know. Like, he has demonstrated that many times. Also, the Enterprise is not like the Enterprise D. It's not the Starfleet flagship.
Right.
It is a deep space exploration vessel.
So I agree with you there. And actually, what I was going to qualify myself, I was going to say, if Archer isn't a diplomat, he needs to have a diplomat on board.
Oh, yeah.
That
100%.
is a problem. The fact that he doesn't. Like, it's fine. Like, I get you need to have sort of a, space cowboy going out, braving new worlds or whatever.
He's definitely a diplomat. Their mission is to go out and meet and make first contact with other species.
Their mission is to explore and to learn. And I don't actually, yes, it makes sense in the context of like Picard, was clearly a diplomat, but I'm not sure you would say Kirk was a diplomat necessarily.
Well, but he had that skill set. Like, they would host diplomatic.
I don't think anybody is I think we're all saying more or less the same thing, which is you need a diplomat on the ship in some form. And typically that is the captain. In this case, because it's not. And if he is literally saying, I'm not a diplomat, this is not my thing, who is? Who is supposed to be filling that role?
Hot take, Archer is bad at his job, and I'm not entirely sure what his job is.
I was going to say T'Pol is probably what, even there's not, Starfleet or whatever is thinking that maybe she's going to be the ambassadorial diplomatic person because she's T'Pol.
Because, and she's actually trained as a diplomat.
Yeah. And so that may be more her purpose, where Archer was just a pilot who's now in outer space. And, I think knowing other things, I think he kind of can learn the diplomat part, because in this episode also, because I was reminded that the Federation was started by the Vulcans, the Andorians, and the humans. So somewhere, this is coming together to eventually be the Federation.
Right.
Yeah, he could learn if he bothered to do his homework, which he did not do in this episode.
Here's the problem. Yes, T'Pol could be a diplomat, but everybody fucking hates the Vulcans. The Vulcans suck in this show.
True.
The other problem is in this particular situation, T'Pol was not the person to be the diplomat. She was just as emotional about the situation as the Andorians were.
Also, they needed somebody who wasn't Vulcan or Andorian.
Exactly.
Right.
Also, to Archer's point about not wanting to do this, I'm kind of on his side, because it's like, we need you to go back 12 light years. Who's going to be there? Soval, who you fucking hate, and Shran, the guy who kidnapped you on more than one.
Yeah.
Wait, did they actually say that it was 12 light years from where they
He
were?
said he made some passing I think he was. I just watched it today, so I'm pretty sure. But he because Soval is giving him shit about being here, and he's like, I went 12 light years out of my way. I can go back.
Yeah.
It was something.
I agree.
Okay, that can't be right, because I want to talk about distance real quick, because I did a bunch of stuff. So I was trying to figure out where this planet was, And I couldn't find out exactly where it was, but we know that it's like between Andorian and Vulcan space. Andoria is 11 light years from Earth. Vulcan is 16 light years from Earth. So it like the halfway point is like 13 to 14 light years. I used a warp speed calculator.
Oh boy.
And going,
you are already thinking about this more than the writers did.
14 or 13 and a half light years at warp 3, because I was trying to figure out why couldn't they send somebody from Earth, would take 183 days. At warp 5, it would take 39 days. So I didn't look at 12 light years. That was like 13 and a half light years. But even at warp 5, it would take 39 days to go 13 and a half light years. So if they went 12 light years in like 2 days.
Something isn't accurate about the science in Star Trek?
But they got there in like 2 days.
They got there in 3 days. They had 3 days.
And
that was
3
their
nights.
travel time.
Well, and they were pushing the engines 110%, even though they were rated 120%.
True. That's true. They were pushing real hard because Trip kept making. Trip
Yeah,
kept
because
complaining
the
about
key
it.
on the table was shaking, and he was like, "I don't like it, Captain."
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess the other piece of that is we don't know how big Vulcan and Andorian space is, but you're right, Jamie. The 12 light year thing makes no sense if that's what it is. Anyway, whatever. It doesn't matter.
One thing that I really liked was Gary Graham and Scott Bakula had some great interpersonal work there. There's a moment when they're actually on the planet and Soval takes off his robes and just fucking throws it in the shuttle pod. It's like, okay, I'm here to work. Let's move this. And then Archer gives him a gun and gives the guy who hates him a gun. It's like, just keep them distracted.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the scene, but there was a moment in the episode where Archer just says something and he's just really charming, and you kind of see
Like the
Sam
Scott
Beckett
Bakula?
a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, see, if he would just be that all the time, it would be like he can be such a charming actor. Why are they directing him to be such a dick? It's really a shame.
Was it when he was negotiating with Shran for the hostage release?
Maybe. I don't know. It was just a moment where like he had a very sort of Sam Beckett look on his face. And I wish I had gone back and checked and remembered it, but it was just very much like, hey, come on, like be reasonable. That very kind of, come on, this is how we are. Why can't we all just, figure this out?
Oh, I think I know when it might have been. It's at the very end when they've made a deal and everybody's pissed off, and Archer says, well, they say a compromise is a solution where nobody's happy with it. And Sherrod goes, well, I guess that fits here.
Yes, we've solved it. Yeah, exactly. And my other note is just, why are Vulcans such assholes just all the time? Just constantly and consistently in this show. I mean, I don't like Archer I don't like his character. I don't like what he's done. But damn it, Saval, it is not his fault that Pajem got fucked up. It's just not. And you keep saying that.
When they are in the shuttle and they are about to crash and die, I love that Saval is like, okay, I'm about to die. I've got moments left before my death. What should I do in this time? And what he chooses to do is tell Archer, I told you so.
Yep. That's exactly right. It's so petty.
He's
It's
like, I have to
amazing.
make sure that Archer goes to his death knowing that I was right and he was wrong.
I mean,
And T'Pol turns to him and said, I was going to say that.
I know, right?
But yeah, I really loved the relationship between those two. I love it in sort of like a enemies to lovers way. I know they're not there. The show is not going to go that far, but I still
Well, let's see.
love even like an enemies to friends or enemies to like
A grudging respect.
Yes, begrudging respect is a plot line that I really love, and I feel like this is the first episode before it's always just been enemies. And this is the first episode where there was a little bit of a crack there. I like Saval's quote at the end, your presence here has not been overly meddlesome.
Yeah.
High praise indeed.
Exactly.
Elaine, any thoughts about Saval and Archer?
They're really good together. I mean, I like seeing them argue and butt heads, especially like when they were getting ready to go, and Saval wanted Archer to take the other Vulcan, whose name I can't remember, and he was like, "No, I'm going to take the one that I can trust, and that's going to be T'Pol, and you can't say anything about it." And so, you know, I'm glad Archer stood up for himself in that moment too. To you know, Shran wants me here, you want me there. I'm taking the person I can trust, which Shran could not trust his trustworthy person though. So that
right,
yeah.
I did like seeing an Andorian woman, or just like a woman of any kind.
Susie Plaxton was
fantastic. Nice when there's a woman on the show, and she's not like just there to like kiss Trip.
I know you told us this when you described the episode, but pull the curtain back. It's been a few weeks since we recorded. Well, I had forgotten that it was
Chuck described the episode.
Oh, sorry. Since Chuck described the episode, I'd forgotten that it was Susie Plaxton who played Kalar on who's TNG. Fantastic as always. Really brings that big bitch energy that I'm always looking for from her. It's fantastic. I also want to praise amazing antenna work, like the puppetry of the antennas. Because there's one point where it's almost cat-like, because there's one point where she's like saying we should keep this, and Shran's like puts her down, like, stop disobey, you know, we're gonna follow my plan. He like yells at her, and her antenna go flat like a cat's ears. Like, yeah. And I think it might have been a thing when Archer sneaks up on her and drops, and like I think her antenna might have turned around as if to. Does anybody know what the antenna do? Because they have ears and they have a nose.
No.
Okay. No, I think
we do not know what the antennae do.
Okay. I'm sure there's somebody who knows what the antenna does, so screaming at the...
I did comment with the big fight between Archer and Lady Andorian, who I forgot what her character's name is, that...
I don't know that we got a character name for her.
Did we get
No, it did. I will tell you, because I just brought this up. Tara. Tarah.
That the fight between those two, because I know Archer usually tends to get the crap beat out of him in like every other episode. He was giving as good as he got in this fight. So I was like, all right, you're not going to be a bloody pulp at the end of this one like you have been before. So I was pleased to see that.
Yeah, being surprisingly competent.
Surprisingly competent.
Despite, again, not doing his homework.
Yeah.
Well, it was 3 days, and T'Pol gave him a fucking 12,000-page document on top of other things. I was like, my dude.
That is not the right way to handle that situation either. If you're the attaché to the person doing this, you create a dossier of
you need to create like summaries. Yeah. But I understand that, but the way Archer treated T'Pol was so rude. The way she's like, did you read this up? And he's like, I like kind of looked at it. I skimmed it a bit. And like, and she kept being like, well, did you read this part? And he's like, I don't know. Like, he was just being so rude to her and treating her so dismissively. Like, he was annoyed that she even sent him all that stuff, which like she told him, like, she obviously went overboard, but she told him like the reason is because this is like, she recognizes that this is a really big moment. Right. Obviously, it matters for like saving lives because they want to be successful on the ceasefire, but it also matters a lot in terms of the humans' relationship with the Andorians and Vulcans, because if they're successful with this, it proves that humans are like meant to be on this universal stage that the Vulcans don't feel up till now that humans deserve to be on. And so T'Pol like recognizes how important this is. And so that's clearly why she went a little overboard sending him all that information. But the way he just like scoffs at her and straight up just tells her that none of this is helpful, which like it is helpful stuff.
Hot take, Jamie. I think he was showing restraint.
I also, to be fair, while T'Pol certainly wants the humans to, you know, become part of that bigger picture and all of that, she also straight up said she just wants Saval to be wrong.
Yeah.
Like, she just wants to see Saval fail, right? She straight up said it. Like, I fucking hate the guy.
I love how petty she is.
She's great.
The interaction between T'Pol and Saval was amazing. Where he's like, "Why did you could have been? You were part of my team because I forgot she was actually part of his ambassadorial team." And she's like, I for lack of I think she says gratifying.
I
She's
find
like,
this work more gratifying. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that like we get peaks of like it almost seems
That
like
is like such a burn too, especially because of where she's
Also,
working.
that motherfucker accused her of being arrogant at one point. And I was
We'll
like,
get into this.
are you shitting me? Yeah, I think we talked about this.
well, no, this Vulcan government feels very much like a military junta. Like these are obviously we've talked about this. These are not the Vulcans we know. They are rigid and militaristic and want everything. They've infiltrated many governments from other.
Fucking put Andorians in refugee camps and shit. Like, it's harsh.
Yeah.
But I did like that. I did like T'Pol straight up standing up for herself to this guy who is, in theory, will still be her boss if she ever leaves the Enterprise, if she goes back to that.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, not to mention that T'Pol has a secret that she is, you know, trying to avoid the High Command learning about, as we learned in the last couple episodes ago. So she's, you know, supposedly should be trying to be more careful with him.
I'm on a vibe now where I think T'Pol legitimately enjoys this work because I think that the prevailing Vulcan opinion is we talked about Vulcans aren't curious. Vulcans don't imagine things. I think that she is part of she is becoming one of the Vulcans that we know, where they want to go out and explore and they want to think about new things. So she's almost is it T'Lyn on lower decks who gets sent to solitary confinement for thinking about something incorrectly. So I think that's her vibe.
Yeah, I agree.
As annoying as the humans on the Enterprise are, the Vulcans are worse.
Oh yeah.
The Vulcans are more annoying than even Archer and Malcolm. So I can see why she's like if I had a choice between working for Saval and Archer, what bottom of the barrel that would be, but I think I would choose Archer over Saval.
Right.
At least Archer would kind of stay out of my business. Saval would be a really annoying boss.
Oh my god, yeah, he'd be the worst.
Yeah, Archer is annoying friendly. It's like we talked about this for like the boss who makes you go to forced team building events.
Yeah.
But Saval is just like a bad guy. He's just for lack of a better a bad person.
Yeah. He's bad and he should feel bad.
Saval would be pointing out like any small mistake you make or that like, oh, you got me this thing. I asked for it by noon and it's 12:05 right now.
Yeah.
We've all had that, boss. Jesus. Nobody needs
I
that.
have one very minor thing. So as this show has pointed out many, many times, they left before that they were fully ready. They are constantly scrounging for things that they need. How many fucking shuttle pods do they have? Because this one is gone. Like, this shuttle pod gone. Like, how many shuttle pods have they burned through at this point? It always seems to be shuttle pod 1 and shuttle pod 2.
Yeah, I think they only have 2, and I think they're just repairing
But this
one gone, man.
Gone. I ain't getting that one back unless I guess maybe the Andorians help them repair it.
Maybe the Vulcans every Vulcan ship has a replacement of Starfleet quality shuttle pods.
The Vulcans should give them another shuttle pod. It because, you know.
Yeah, they should.
That requires them admitting any kind of wrongdoing, which is never going to happen.
No. So it was kind of interesting briefly to see Malcolm think he might get to, you know, blow things up, and then no.
Poor Malcolm.
No, you can't do that. But I thought Trip did a good job being commander for a little bit. I was like,
oh yeah,
he really did.
He did that very well.
He really did. I was very impressed with Trip in this episode.
That was a real Spock move. It's like, oh, okay, move our ship between the two of them, and also his move of like, oh, you're gonna fire on each other. We're gonna fire on whoever fires first.
Yeah.
I did say when I watched that scene, like, do they care? Like, I don't think humans have weapons that are anywhere near as good as the Andorians or the Vulcans. So I mean, he was saying it like it was this big threat, like, oh, we're gonna come, like, but they're
not.
Are they?
Not a martial threat, a diplomatic threat. You summoned this guy here to negotiate a peace, and then you you destroyed the ship that you asked to come here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus,
that's fair.
like the Vulcans have like ambassadors and stuff stationed on Earth. Like if they suddenly went to war with the humans, like that would be really bad.
Yeah.
That's fair. I mean, the Andorians wouldn't give a shit, though. The Andorians are willing to shoot anybody. They don't care.
I do want to say, though, the storyline that I can't even remember what episode it was on, but when we had the B plot of Trip was in charge of the Enterprise for like 3 days or whatever by himself and couldn't make one simple decision. But then here we see him being totally decisive. Like you see he's like being what I would say is a better captain than Archer. Like he's doing a great job, but then it kind of annoys me with that other storyline, which they clearly did. Like, I thought that they had done that other storyline because we were going to, over the course of this show, see Trip, like, become more comfortable in the captain's chair. But instead, it seems like they just did that for laughs, and it was never really supposed to be part of his character. And then I'm like, well, it's the problem with the show, right? Like, the show... Like, the characters are not consistent.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine, Jamie. He took some management training classes in between those episodes, and now he knows what he's doing.
In fairness, the choices presented to Trip in that episode are, the crew needs to shit themselves for 3 days after this inoculation. Should I do it? That's a real above my pay grade call.
Yeah, that's fair.
What do we think that Archer would have done if he were in the captain's chair during that moment?
Probably the same thing. Like move.
I think he'd have probably done the same thing. Yeah. I think Archer always goes for the most aggressive move, and this was a pretty aggressive move. So I think Trip is learning from Archer, even though it was unusual for Trip to be that sort of decisive and aggressive about it, but he handled it well, I think.
I think Archer would have done the same thing, but I think he would have been a total asshole about it.
Oh yeah. Oh, like for sure. He would have been chill about it.
The way he would have been talking to them would not be like, "We're just gonna move over here," but otherwise, like you guys understand what we're doing. He would be like, "If you guys shoot each other, we're gonna shoot you," and he would have been like doing all these threats that he would not even be able to back up.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I disagree. I think Archer would have done his move where he's like, "Oh, are we in between your two ships right now? Oh,
I love it when he does that.
We're having some problems with our controls right now."
Yeah, no, that's fair. He probably would have done that.
I love it when he does that.
Yeah.
Cool ship design. Have we seen? I can't remember if we saw the Andorian ships during like Pajama or anything like that.
I don't think so. I think we've only ever. Well, maybe no. I don't think we saw them in Pajama. Yeah. So
cool ship design.
It was cool. The one other thing that I noticed when we were talking about Malcolm, I think this might have been the first time we actually saw a tactical alert with the red lights.
I was so excited.
Was so happy. Could you tell? He was like looking at him like he was so excited.
Tactical alert is not yet red alert. It is tactical alert.
Yeah, it was very cute.
I want to talk about Archer's jacket.
Oh man, I wanted it so bad. It was such a great jacket.
I didn't like it as much. I didn't like it as much as the one they used in like the pilot episode where they went down to Rigel. It just seemed like it wasn't fitted at all. It was just like a rain slicker.
It did.
Yeah, but what was cool about it was that I didn't even realize he had a jacket at first because it looks just like the jumpers that they wear, like their regular uniform. But then it was like when it pulled out, you realize like it just went down just below the waist and it was a darker color and a different material. And then you just like, but I love that they have jackets that like you can put on over your uniform that look exactly like your uniform.
To keep things simple. Yeah, I like that a lot. I had 2 food-related things that I noticed I think it was right at the very beginning when T'Pol and Trip and Archer were eating, and the notification came in. I think T'Pol might have been drinking lemonade. I was like, is that lemonade?
She's cutting loose.
Yeah. Huh. And there was also one scene where
because we've seen her drinking the iced tea.
Yeah, it was yellow. It was clearly not iced tea.
Right.
There was one scene where Archer was eating and he had on his fork one single green bean. One individual green bean. And I was like...
Sorry, talking about food stuff, how great would it be? He's pulling like everybody out of the shuttle pod and he goes back in and pulls out a bottle of bourbon that he had stashed in there.
Hey! Also, this is the second time this has happened, but like T'Pol at the end was like, I'm gonna take the Vulcans back to the airlock. Like every time she says that, I am just assuming there's nothing on the other side of that airlock.
Would you like me to escort the Vulcans to the air? Like, boy, would I ever.
All right. Any final thoughts? I mean, I thought it was a good episode. Yep. I loved the relationship between Archer and Saval. There was some good T'Pol stuff. The trip stuff was good. And I assume that this will matter in the future. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
No, I'll repeat what I said before. Not the most entertaining episode of Enterprise, but maybe the best episode of Enterprise thus far.
Yeah, it was solid, and it was worth rewatching. Of course, it's been a couple years since I've originally seen it, but it was not like, oh, this episode. So, yeah, I got into it. It was like I was enjoying the episode again. So, yeah.
I have two very small things. One is, well, first of all, have any of you guys watched Parks and Rec?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so... The other Vulcan, the Vulcan who was supposed Marak, right? He and Steven clocked this immediately. I would never have clocked it. Do you remember in Parks and Rec, Ben keeps getting a job in an accounting firm and then immediately quitting?
Oh my God.
He is the boss.
Oh. Did not recognize him at all.
Ben will make like the worst joke in the world and this guy acts like it's the funny. Oh my God.
His name is John Balma, and I went on IMDb to look him up, and the very first thing on his IMDb says, raised to be a cowboy, John fled his family's horse-drawn dreams and headed to San Francisco to pursue a career in theater.
Amazing.
It's fantastic. I was so excited. And he looks so completely different, obviously, because he's in Vulcan makeup, but it made me laugh so hard.
Also, it's like a 15-year difference, but oh God, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was so fun.
I thought this episode did a really good job at setting up, like, everybody watching the show, like, we know that this show is going to presumably end with the founding of the Federation. Right. And I felt like this episode, you could see very clearly how you get from here to the eventual Federation without it feeling clunky or like over the top or like hitting you over the head with it. You know, there was no
there should be some sort of directive
directive moment. Like it just felt more natural, and I really liked that from the show that has not been able to do that.
100% agree with you, Jamie, that it feels like the humans are, in a good way, going to be the chaos agents that bring things. All these different races are locked, and they're going to be the ones. They are the new way. Just
this role of the humans sort of getting in the middle of a conflict between two other species and being like the third party arbitrator is something that we see that's like a huge role of the Federation in the future. And so this is sort of the first time that they're doing it, but you can see how something like growing out of this would lead, because right now the Vulcans seem to be the ones that usually take on that role, but they also seem to pick not be so neutral. No, I guess it seems more that they pick the sides they want and meddle.
No, it's like American policy in a lot of countries where we don't want them to be communists, but we're not going to install a democracy here. We're going to like decimate everybody, put a strong man in charge who's going to keep the communists out and oppress their own people. That seems to be the Vulcan way of doing business.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Anything else?
Oh, just that they said the name of the episode I feel like that should be another segment that we do. Like, did they say the name of the episode in the episode? Because they did it multiple times.
Well, it's easy to do when it's minefield or ceasefire. Like, but nobody says Vox Sola in Vox Sola. they dump the creature out there walking back to the sputtle pod. Vox Sola. What? What'd you say?
Never mind.
So now that we've talked about the episode, three of us, me and Maria and Elaine, just got back from Dragon Con. So we thought it might be fun to just talk about our time at Dragon Con.
I had the best time. I hadn't been back since before the pandemic. I was a little nervous to go back. When I was there in 2019, it was awfully crowded, but I ended up having really the best time and didn't get COVID. So I was very excited about both those things because I was quite stressed. But yeah, such a good time. So good. It really did feel like I was talking to my husband about it after, and we're still not 100% sure we're going back again. But it's just that Dragon Con is not like anything else I do anywhere in my life. Mm-hmm. Like, it is a place that is so completely magic. It's like going to Narnia. It really is. It's just a whole different world that you get to step into for 4 days. It's amazing.
So I live in the Twin Cities, and we have a lot of the big sci-fi fan, and we have a bunch of different cons here, including some big ones and some small ones and stuff. And I described it the one time I went to Dragon Con, and I was like, it's like 5 of our biggest cons happening at once. It is mind-bogglingly huge.
But you have the 5 hotel.
Yeah.
You know, and then, because this is our 3rd year going in a row, but we went 2 or 3 years back, like, let's see, my baby just turned 16 when he was like 2, and then like a year or 2 before he was born. So we skipped a long time going, and so it grew, and and they added the Westin, they added the hotel, because the Cortland or at the Sheraton, they had just added that, like not that long ago when we first started going, but then it's hard to go when you have little kids.
Of course.
I don't see how people do it with small children. You know, so now that he can stay home by himself, you know, and we don't have a hotel room. We go back and forth from the house every day.
Right.
But public transportation makes that super easy and super cheap because parking is expensive and all of that. But this was my first year as a volunteer. I volunteered with the tech ops, doing like running cable, like, you know, setting up the rooms and the audio stuff. And then in one of the big ballrooms, you know, when you change out panels, tech ops is responsible for making sure everybody leaves the room, gets it ready for the next panel, load people in. And so it was interesting to see behind the scenes and stuff that I'd never seen before. But so I'm looking forward to doing that again next year. And I was on 2 panels, which has become, this is my 3rd year being on at least 1 panel at Dragon Con. So that's fun. I enjoy doing that. But yeah, part of me's ready for next year, but I have 3 other conventions between now and next year that I need to, you know, get through.
Yeah.
So
and then me and Maria did some Enterprise cosplay on Friday, and then we ran into 2 other people in Enterprise uniforms. It was so exciting.
Yeah, one of whom I think, are you talking about at your panel, Jamie? Because we ran into multiple people in Enterprise cosplay.
You weren't with me. Okay, so I ran into 2 people in Enterprise gear. You were not with me at that time, now that I think about it. One of them had a little stuffed Porthos.
Yep, I saw that photo, which was adorable.
And then we ran into another person in Enterprise cosplay.
There were 2 guys in Enterprise cosplay.
Because I was on one Trek Track panel this year.
I know who you're talking about in the Trek Track room. It was like, I went into a panel, I was like, wait, why is everybody dressed Enterprise?
Okay, so I have questions about this because as I've been re-listening to the old episodes, we talked about Jamie was having. I joked about Jamie not getting onto Trek panels because she's into Enterprise and has only seen 1.5 part seasons of this. What was the Trek panel that you were on?
Okay, they assigned me to accessibility in Star Trek.
Oh, excellent.
A topic I don't know anything about, but I was like, it's fine. There's no moderator, and I know how to moderate. So I was the moderator.
Fantastic.
And I kept everyone on track and asked all the questions, and then periodically made jokes.
But here's the funniest part about that interaction at the Trek Track at the end of the panel. we're sort of talking to people, whatever, and these two guys in Enterprise cosplay walk up, and we're like, "Oh, hey, yeah, we have
badges or ribbons."
And we were in our Enterprise cosplay.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
And I was like, we're like giving them stuff, and we're like, "Yeah, we have a podcast." And the one guy was like, "Yeah, I've heard of Enterprise planning." And both Jamie and I were like, "What? What are you talking about? How is that possible?" We were
But then he's like,
stunned.
"Oh, well, it's because he works for Trek Track." So, and I was on Trek Track. So
He's like the second guy on Trek Track. He's like the director. He heard about Enterprise because he knew you were on it.
yeah,
He read
that's
your
the only
bio.
reason is because he read my like one sentence bio,
It made me laugh because we were so excited.
and then it's like, oh no, he just read my bio.
Just knew. But they were lovely. They were super nice. We took some photos. We should post those photos in the show notes. They were really fun. And I was in Desert Crossing.
Yes, you were.
Cosplay. And so
Yeah,
literally,
in the
like,
Enterprise Desert
nobody
Fair.
recognized me, right? Nobody had any idea what I was.
People kept asking for photos of me, and then I'd pull Maria over, and I'd be like, "She's wearing Enterprise cosplay too."
Here's the best interaction I had with that. So I had to, for various reasons, lug a wagon full of cardboard from the Hilton to the Marriott, which is a very hard thing to do because, like the Marriott has multiple elevators or whatever. So
And it's
I'm
on
in one of
there's
the
a
elevators.
fucking hill. There's a, yeah.
Well, no, I went through the Sky Bridge,
Sure.
but in order to get from the Hilton to the level I needed to go to, I had to go to two different elevators. So I'm on the second elevator and I'm lugging this thing and it's kind of a pain. And these two people get on the elevator with me and they're both in Next Generation cosplay.
Nice.
And they're talking to each other about Trek Track and something about Trek Track. And they were like, "Hey, you have a Star Trek lanyard on. You should come to this Trek Track thing." And I was like, "I have a full fucking Enterprise cosplay on, dude." And I didn't. I was so flustered and like busy and like I had like one floor. I couldn't even explain all of that to them. I'm like, "Okay, great, bye." But I was so mad
That they didn't recognize?
I am fully in. They had no idea. They were like, "You have a lanyard."
The price you pay when you do a deep cut costume.
I know, and there were like 3 people who recognized me, I will say, and they were all the people who were in Enterprise cosplay. But
I feel you because on Sunday I wore a so I did Strange New Worlds cosplay, but from the holodeck episode.
Yeah, it was
that
great.
just aired like a couple of weeks ago.
It was so good.
So me and my spouse were Lon and Kirk from the holodeck episode, but because it doesn't really look like Star Trek, people did not recognize that it was Star Trek.
That's the best.
We went to the Star Trek photo shoot specifically so that people would recognize it. So because people knew it was Trek, they got it. But other than that, there was just one person that just was walking by us, stopped, looked back at me, he's like, "Wait, are you guys doing the holodeck episode?" And we were so excited. We're like, "Yes, that is what we're doing."
When I went to Dragon Con that one year, there were 2 guys who were dressed as Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks from Dragnet, specifically the episode where they're infiltrating the pagan network and they're dressed in the goatskin pants as like pseudo punks. And I was like, Dragon Con is a river. Like everything's going one way. I had to pull myself out of the river. It's like, I got to get a photo of these 2 guys. Here's my contribution. Great. This is my only contribution because I did not go to Dragon Con this year, but we're on a group chat and obviously you all, like, I'm getting 800 messages a day. I was like, okay, let's see what my friends are doing. And someone in the group was like, "Oh, there's some kind of karaoke, like live acoustic karaoke thing going on here. Should we go? Like, what should we do? Should we go in?" And I posted in all caps, "Faith of the Heart." And Maria's husband, Steven, who is the voice of our computer, responded with, "Shut your whore mouth."
I should tell you that before he posted that,
yes,
I think I was there and maybe Emily was there, and he was like, "Is it okay if I say this to Bill? Is it inappropriate to say shut your whore mouth to Bill?" I'm like, "Just tell him it's fine."
In terms of talking to me, 100% okay.
I'm like, "It's Bill. He knows. It's fine."
Well, actually got upset because, Chuck and his wife Veronica, they do puppets and Felt Nudie. And they do multiple shows. They did multiple shows across Dragon Con, and I was only able to see one of them on the Brit track, so it was all Doctor Who related. I did not get to see the Star Trek one. Matt got to see it, and then there was another one, and I got really upset because the ones that I missed, as much as he hates Enterprise and the theme song, he worked Faith of the Heart into the shows. And I'm like, I missed one of them. Damn it. I wanted to sing along.
So I went into the end of that one.
Yes.
But I was late. And so there was still, and they were like, I didn't realize the last 15 minutes was just like questions.
Yeah.
So I walk in and they're finishing and they're like, time for questions. And I was like, oh, I missed it.
Well, and apparently they like morphed it. One of them, they morphed Faith of the Heart with Never Gonna Give You Up. Like it turned into a Rick roll
Oh my God,
or something.
that's amazing.
And I was like, I missed it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so because I love the theme song. I did not mention that before. I love the theme song and I will never ever skip it. Or I love the theme song for the first 2 seasons. And I will never ever skip it for the first 2 seasons.
I'm excited to at least hear the new season 3 theme song.
I'm
in like
terrified to hear the new version.
Oh my God. I can't even.
I have opinions, but I will keep them to myself until y'all get there.
Yeah, we'll have to have you back in season 3 to ask you about the new theme song. So with that, we can go into our Memory Alpha segment. It's going to be very short this week. The Memory Alpha segment is where we talk about a weird or funny page on Memory Alpha, sort of like the breast page, which is why it's called Memory Alpha.
Oh, good cleavage in this episode. Sorry, just to throw that away.
Oh, yeah,
on.
I totally
Great
forgot
cleavage.
that Andorian woman, was her name Tara, had so much cleavage.
Yeah.
She had like otherwise a fairly normal outfit, but then just like cleavage.
Plunging neckline.
Yep.
Great work.
The Memory Alpha page I'd like to talk about today is the page for gyrosphere, which is that big, weird, circly exercise device that Trip was on in Vanishing Point.
Vanishing Point.
That he was like spinning around on. So there is a page for it. It says, a gyrosphere was a type of exercise device. It mainly consisted... Yeah, exercise device. I mean, it was in the gym. It mainly consisted of 3 large purple rings that whirled in a seemingly random sequence.
It is an exercise device in the same way that, like, from you see the videos from the 1940s of the woman, like the strap that goes around your waist and just vibrates.
Yeah.
Yes, my stepmother had one of those.
It says, to begin a gyro workout, a person had to strap themselves into or be strapped into the center of the apparatus, standing on a platform while the surrounding rings start to spin. Exiting the machine involves reaching down to the platform and waiting for the machine to come to a halt.
How amazing would it have been in the episode, the Precious Cargo episode, if when they're torturing that alien, they put him in they've had to enter the big room, and there's just the gyrosphere, and he is being strapped into it.
But then what was cool about this is at the bottom, it noted that the model used in Vanishing Point was a commercially produced exercise device modified for this episode, and that this device was based on NASA multi-axis space test inertia facility used to train early astronauts. And I was like, what? This thing is like somehow real-ish? So I started looking into what that was.
I think it was just getting your inner ear used to being like...
Well, so
fucked
it's
up.
like more than that. So the ones that NASA use, they call them MASTIF, which stands for Multiple Axis Space Test Inertia Facility. They also call it a gimbal rig, and it is used to train astronauts in how to reorientate a tumbling out of control spacecraft. So it like spins them around and rolls them around, and they have hand controls, and there's usually like a screen and like controls and stuff. And it has like nitrogen gas thrusters on the outer sections, and they have to like use the controls to like bring it back into not being spinny around. So it's not an exercise device.
Right.
It's more just like a training device for controlling a spacecraft.
I'm not opposed to it being like on a ship. Like, I understand this has a use in space.
The one on the Enterprise does not have a use. You just spin around.
You just spin around in it and have fun.
I have vague memories of seeing like videos when I was a kid of the astronaut training, and it would show them in that and they would do the underwater thing to like experience weightlessness, and I've seen those before. So
yeah, me too. I had the same when I saw, because I think I did that episode, that Vanishing Point episode, and I was like, okay, I know I've seen these in actual NASA, or some version of these in actual NASA training videos.
These may be false memories, but I definitely have memories of it in the 80s. Like, you would see these in TV shows of like, this is what a rich person has in their house. Like, it was very much a Brookstone thing that like you could order this, and it was just like the nonsense thing that a rich person would have in their house.
Yeah, like the thing where you hang from this from you attach it to the door
moon
jamb.
Yeah.
I mean, it says in here that it was commercially available, so they bought it and modified it for the episode. But then I was trying to figure out what's the deal with these, like when were they made, who was using them, but I couldn't find any, like, unless it has a different type of name, because gyrosphere, like, all that comes up is like fake things called gyrospheres in media. Either Star Trek comes up, or like something in Jurassic Park, like one of the new what Jurassic World movies.
I have not watched the movie in years. I 100% am sure that it is in the movie Lawnmower Man, as like virtual reality. Like, this is what you wear in virtual reality so that your body can move in any way.
You're right. I remember that.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, that's what I found. I was just like I couldn't believe it when it's like NASA use, and I was like, what? This is like actually useful? But no, the one in this show is still not useful, but it was based on something that is useful.
So I did look it up. I just went back to my notes on Vanishing Point just to see, and I found that it was called a multi-axis trainer, which I think is what you said, or an aerotrim, AERO. TRIM. Huh? So maybe that's a thing. Maybe that's what they were called.
Yeah, maybe. So, moving on to read alerts. This is usually for emails we get from listeners. This is READ alerts. However, this time I want to start with a DragonCon story because I met a fan of this podcast.
I'm so angry about
that
this.
Isn't like one of my friends. I met a lot of fans, but they're my friends. But I met a fan that is not just like a friend of mine.
Somebody we know.
And Maria was sleeping.
I made one good decision at DragonCon, and that was to go to bed early on Thursday night because I knew Friday, Saturday, Sunday were going to be late night. And
yeah, and this did happen at like 1 a.m.
Or maybe it was Friday night.
In the Hilton, in the lobby area of one of the high floors. This was just a random, like, this wasn't
amazing.
It wasn't like he came to a panel or something. But he came up and asked if I was Maria, and I'm like, no, Maria's sleeping. And he goes, are you Jamie? And I was like, yes. And he's like, I love Enterprise planning. I was like, what?
Amazing.
And I was in my Enterprise uniform still, because I stayed really, we kept saying we stayed in the suburbs this year. We stayed in like 3 blocks away from the con. It was too hard. It was too far to go back and change. So I was still in my uniform, and I love that he just made the assumption too that like a woman in an Enterprise uniform, it must be Maria or Jamie.
Yeah. And it would have been because that was the night I was in Enterprise cosplay as well. But
it's a Venn diagram that is almost a circle.
I know.
Unfortunately, I was just thinking, I cannot remember his name, but I think it was Joe. So I'm so sorry if your name is not Joe. I'm just going to call you Joe.
Your name is Joe now,
sorry.
Joe.
It is now. But yeah, he gave me a can of mead That was delicious. So thank you so much. And we chatted for a while and it was really exciting. Oh, and he said that he had earlier in the day been wearing our Porthos shirt, which you can buy in the ESO Network TeePublic store.
I'm going to lose my mind if I ever see one of those in the wild.
Yeah, I can't, if I'd seen him wearing it,
I'd have lost
oh
my
my
mind.
God.
I'd have lost my mind.
So we also got an email from Nicole P, who has emailed us before, and this email was so long. In fact, at Dragon Con, I think on the first night when Maria and I were both drinking, I was like reading some of these.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you remember them.
It's all brilliant. Every single piece of that email is brilliant.
So she said that she just kept the email draft for like weeks and just kept adding to it. So it is very long. But I couldn't just pick and choose. So I'm just going to split it up over a bunch of episodes.
Smart.
So for this one, I just want to read you guys her first 4 questions. The first one, for those of you who have seen Josie and the Pussycats, is du jour an emotion? I'm seeing I have not seen Josie and the
It's been too long since I've seen Josie and the Pussycats. Sorry.
Can't answer that. Sorry. Yeah,
I'm so sorry, Nicole.
We'll have to. Maybe
in
one of us should watch Josie and the Pussycats and do it as an away mission.
You know that I understand that this person is probably talking about Josie and the Pussycats, the movie, but not only is there that, there's the
original
animated
cartoon
series, and there is also the other animated series, Josie and the Pussycats in Space.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Really?
That one I have not seen. I saw the original Josie and the Pussycats animated and the movie.
I have not seen any of them, but my friend worked on the movie. I think she was like the art director.
Oh, awesome.
It's one of those things where I cannot hear Josie and the Pussycats without having the song in my head.
So the answer to the first question is the Vulcan Science Academy has determined that Josie and the Pussycats does not exist.
Second question, did Malcolm go to space to die?
It's an elaborate form of suicide.
As we have established in canon for this show, both Malcolm and Trip are on the run for several warrants, which is why none of them want to go back to Earth.
I mean, maybe Archer too. He's on the run from war crimes. Maybe they just maybe it's like the TARDIS. They literally just stole the Enterprise.
Question 3: who cuts their hair on this ship, and how much of Trip's suitcase was hair gel?
It's true. There's no replicator. Do you think they can? What is it that they call it when they make meat?
3D print it.
Protein sequencer? The protein
They have a term.
Yeah, protein sequence. Do you think they can
protein
sequence hair gel?
Oh yeah. Phlox cuts the hair and then he feeds the clippings to his critters.
Well, and
that's
maybe
true.
one of his slimy snail-like creatures is where they get the hair gel. The hair gel.
Oh yeah, from Sluggo.
Here's a special creature we put on your head. It gives you frosted tips.
And then the last question I have for you from her today. This might be a dumb question, but T'Pol's fiance is supposedly an architect, but aren't most Vulcan buildings actually built into rock? So do they actually have architects? Is he lying about having a job?
Maybe it's just the generic architect.
I think you still need an you still need a building designer.
Yeah. You need a structural engineer at least.
Yeah.
He walks into everything, and he's got like the little rolly chart that has like a drape over it, and he pulls it off and says, "I see this building in rock."
Is T'Pol's fiance just making more caves? Is that why she hates him so much?
He's a cave architect.
Oh God, Maria, he's coming for you.
He's coming for me, man.
It's been a long time since they mentioned her architect fiance on the show.
Yeah,
I forgot about
I assume
him.
he comes back.
I love that he's an architect because it's such a generic job in the 90s. Like everybody's boyfriend or fiance or husband was an architect.
It's the job of the rom-com man.
Stability. It is the boring stability job. I know this will not happen, but I really hope that we meet him one day and is played by Trip in Vulcan drag.
Oh my god, I'd love that so much. It would be so funny. Oh.
And then we got another email from Rachel, who I'm pretty sure is Nicole's sister, about thoughts about the episode Catwalk, because that episode we just released, even though it was now weeks ago. The first thought was that maybe T'Pol is a Romulan.
Oh yeah,
I have posited this before.
Yeah,
it would make sense.
I actually posited the opposite. I think T'Pol is not a Romulan, but all the other Vulcans are.
No, this fits into this is the Terran Star Empire. They didn't meet the Vulcans, they met the Romulans.
Yeah.
And she also said that she thinks that maybe T'Pol scored low in her Laws of Surak training, and so the Vulcans just assigned her to the Enterprise because she was a flunky.
Like everybody else.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like I love the idea that like T'Pol is the most competent person on the Enterprise, but for a Vulcan, she sucks.
Yeah.
This would be a great show if, and I understand, we're fundamentally rewriting this show. If this was the shit crew. Yeah. Like, if it was like lower decks, like this is the level C crew, and we're sending you off, and eventually they end up creating the Federation. That would be a great journey to go on. That would be great. Yeah. Nobody believes in these guys.
The misfits, you know. Yeah.
It sometimes feels like that's what they're trying to do, and set them up to be underdogs. But I'm like, you have the only Warp 5 ship. You have like the most important ship, and you're on this very important mission. You're not an underdog.
No.
Yeah.
And then she had one more point about we pointed out the Nike swoosh on the side of Archer's bag. And she said, maybe Archer is a vintage bag girly.
Oh, yeah. That's
So maybe Nike doesn't exist. He just likes a vintage bag. But it does have a year on it because it is from his, on the other side of the bag. Polo. Yeah, it is his water polo.
What if, so there's been this, global, there's been like World War III, the eugenics wars. There's been this global collapse and humanity has rebuilt itself and they don't know that it was a corporation. So, this was a symbol that all their athletes wore. This must be a symbol of strength that they have. That they would put on things.
Oh, I love the idea of like people who love vintage stuff in the future when there's no corporations, like taking on corporate logos just to like be cool.
Like people naming their child Burger King by mistake.
Like we don't know that Thor's hammer was actually just this one guy who had a shop in like the Nordic castle. Like that was, it wasn't actually a myth. It was just like this one guy's store. Yeah.
Like when I was growing up, there was in San Diego, we had a hockey team. It was not like a main team. It was like a whatever, like the equivalent of like a minor league team. But it went away. I think it was called the Rays, and eventually that it just ended and there was no more team. But I still own like merch for it. And I will periodically like wear the hat or whatever, like, because it's fun. It's really fun wearing merch for like a sports team that doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And I feel like that's like what Archer's doing with his bag. Yeah, like he's a vintage girly. He's like fun to have this logo for a corporation that doesn't exist.
Oh God, how amazing would it be if Archer has like a whole bag collection and he's showing it to T'Pol, who cannot leave the room. Now look at this one. This has got the 2217 design. That's all I got.
Or he's a sneaker guy.
Oh God. Archer is 100% a sneaker guy.
Yeah. All right. So we don't usually do Rikermendations, but Elaine, since you weren't on one of our Explainer episodes, since you know too much about the show already, I thought it might be fun if you brought a Rikermendation.
I have one. It's a show that I just finished the first season of, and it is a show that's like almost 20 years old, so everybody has seen it but me. I don't know what I was doing in 2006, why I didn't watch it. I don't know. And it's called Psych.
Oh my God!
Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me recommendation?
Oh my god, I love Psych.
I adore Psych. I cannot tell you how much I love that show.
Well, because one of the guests at DragonCon was Timothy Omundson. And I only knew him from Gallivant and This Is Us, pre-stroke and post-stroke. And so I super believe in Tad Cooper with all my heart. And so I got a selfie and an autograph from him. And then I kept seeing the Psych pictures, and I'm like, that does not look like him at all, what I'm used to him looking like with the gray hair and the beard and everything. And so I had con crud last week, and so I was home a lot from work. And so I'm like, okay, let's just check it out, because there was a girl in line ahead of us that she's like, I just loved his character so much in the show. And I was like going,
he's so great.
Okay, fine. I know I'm supposed to be looking for pineapple mentions or pictures everywhere, which there's some are not there. But I've been having fun watching it, so that's it's
nice.
It's a joyous show.
It's
I
on my
absolutely
list
love it.
for rewatch because I may be having another surgery in the next couple months, and I will need something to just lay on the couch and watch nonstop all day for days. And Psych is on my list as like that. It is a show that I need to revisit.
Well,
and it's perfect comfort watch.
Yeah,
It's a
exactly.
perfect comfort watch.
and in the first,
in spite of all the murder.
there was the one episode in the first season where they're at a convention and George Takei is there, and I was like, oh, cool, they got George Takei. And then like a couple episodes later, there was the episode with the tennis player that has gone missing. And they're talking to his dad, Mr. Surtis. And he's like, yes, I can't find Deanna. And I'm like, did they just really name the character? Okay, we have Deanna Troy and Marina Sirtis. Did they just swap those two names? Okay, do I need to start looking for Star Trek references in these episodes now?
Yes, great show.
So that is my recommendation.
Great recommendation. And that was the episode. Thank you so much for listening. Next episode, I will be telling Maria and Bill about the episode Future Tense. Elaine, where can people find you? I hear you have a podcast, maybe.
Yes, I do have a podcast. It's called Monkeying Around, a podcast about the monkey. And
Wonderful.
yes, we need to record some episodes. We kind of been slacking a little, but DragonCon gets in the way of a lot of things. And then also on Facebook and Blue Sky, I have something called Elaine and Matt Watch TV, where I'm chronicling what we're watching on TV. And when we're watching Star Trek episodes, we live comment on Facebook. So if you happen to see on Facebook that we're watching whatever TNG episode we're watching, we're going to comment while we're watching it. And sometimes I make stupid, silly comments because I can. And sometimes, it's a good episode if I'm not commenting a whole lot. Because I'm really wise. It's like I can't take time to, type everything. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Special thanks to K.O. Myers at Particulate Media for sound assistance, to our friend David for beautiful cover art, and to John Stephen King for being the voice of our computer. If you liked the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on your podcast app of choice and tell your friends about it. We really appreciate it. You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook as @EnterprisePlaning and on Blue Sky as @EnterprisePlane. You can also email us any comments or questions such as, have you noticed that Archer has the same color hair as Porthos if you include the eyebrows? That was another question that we got from Nicole.
Well, here's the fun fact. They replaced Archer in season 2, and then they had to spray a white spot on the back of his head so that it would match.
Yeah, that was another question that we got from our listener, Nicole. To enterpriseplaning@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you, but not that question because we've already got it. You gotta come up with your own question. We may read your silly questions on our read alerts if you send them. If you want to support this podcast, you can find us at Buy Me a Coffee as Enterprise Planning. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Ta-ta.
Sorry. KO cut all of that out. We were just chatting. Where was I on the outro? Oh, right. Special thanks to KO Myers at Particulate Media for sound assistance. to our friend David for our beautiful cover art. And to John Stephen
I
King.
almost shot whiskey through my nose.
Why?
Because we were just talking about, like, cut all this nonsense out, KO.
Thank you, KO.
Thank you, KO. Welcome to the stinger.
Okay, well, now I got to do that again.
I'm Drew Leiter.
And I'm Cletus Jacobs.
Join the Earth Station DCU podcast this summer as we continue to review DC All In, as well as Creature Commandos, Peacemaker Season 2, and of course, James Gunn's Superman movie.
Also, check out our new Earth Station DCU Bat Chums Patreon, where we are reviewing Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. There's never been a greater time to be a DC fan.
The Earth Station DCU podcast, part of the ESO Network.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping for the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.